All right. So if this is going through,
We
um,
are live.
we are live. All right. Welcome everyone. We're so glad you're with us. We're about 6 minutes late because our website went down and we had these technical difficulties that were indicative of so many people coming to the site and watching this. So that's very, very cool. This is the Grand Conjunction Solstice Activation Meditation, and what would we call it, guys? Visioning celebration. Here we're activating the new timeline. And there's so much that we are looking forward to share with you. The cornerstone of this event is going to be an Essene based activation and meditation with Dr. Gabriel Cousens. And he just had another worldwide meditation activation for his own community. So he's come on here. Dr. Gabriel Cousens, welcome. And Laura Bolton is here, and she's going to be sharing more on the deeper work that she is inspired with around healing trauma and shifting timelines and all of this. So Mike, Laura, welcome. I'm so glad you're all able to join us today. You guys, I feel so much energy around this. I feel so activated, and right now, because of the technical stuff, you can probably imagine there's just a lot going on. But I'm going to take some breaths. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to toss it over to you, Mike, my co-host. And yeah, thank you so much for setting this up with me today.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Hey, guys, we are pumped today. I'm feeling the energies. I'll tell you, had an amazing Redwoods hike with the fam this morning, saw the sunrise, and am feeling the mojo today. So I hope you guys are as well, wherever you are in the world. We are so happy you're joining us. We have Gabriel Cousens, MD, in the house, going to lead us through an amazing activation and meditation. And I think we're going to get a groove on a little bit too. So I'm excited about that. And of course, Laura Bolton's here with us. So blessed to have her here. So let's get it party started. I'm going to throw it over to Gabriel. And hey, we're just so blessed from the Alpha Vedic community and the Alpha Vedic team to have you guys here. This is it. This is what we've been talking about. This is the start of the new timeline. Everything we've been working for the last few years towards this. This is the start. This is why we did Music in Sky. This is why we're doing the Reunion Summit. This is it. So buckle up, buckle in, and get ready, because I'm really looking forward to this. Gabriel, how are you today?
I am wonderful. Feeling really happy, very joyous. We just did a ceremony for people. This is a very special time. And maybe I should share a little bit about why this is so special. But I like to start with a prayer that merges the heavens and the earth, which is what this is all about, what life is all about. Heavens and earth, heart and mind, okay? So we're going to start with this. It's actually an Essene prayer as well. Leshemiku Kurshabrihu Ushinte Bi'ilo Nulaya Shemuke Babavke Beaudashim Shem Kozrael Kolam Amen. Just feel the merging of your heart and mind, the merging of the heavens and the earth. Okay, so I'm going to just start off by taking two levels of understanding this new age of Aquarius that we're coming into. As you said earlier, there's a conjunction at 0 degrees of Saturn and Jupiter. And that happened 25,000 years ago. That was the last time. So we're now entering into a new time, the age of Aquarius. And that's at one level, the expansion of love, expansion of joy, expansion of spiritual joy. This is very important because that's part of the Essene way. As you may have mentioned, the scene, but I've actually, I am living here in Israel full time. I have gone everywhere the Essene path is. We do workshops in Qumran, or right near Qumran. I've taken what we call mikvah or sacred bath at the same place Jesus did in the Jordan. I've been in the Sermon on the Mount and given energy teachings there, as well as the Sea of Galilee near Peter's house, actually, where they were. So everywhere I've been, I can be. So I'm carrying some of that energy for you, this Essene energy, because that's what we're talking about in a big way. This is initiating us into the Messianic age. Just kind of think that way. And we're all part of it. That's what's important. We're all part of it. It's not just someone separate from us, it's us. And the truth is, the age of Aquarius doesn't start with some galactic visions, it starts in our own hearts. It starts in our hearts and connections to the divine. So that's why it's exciting. So yes, last time was 25,000 years ago, where it was 0 degrees, where Saturn and Jupiter were conjunct. Okay, and it is about the expansion of consciousness on multiple levels. That's really, really important to kind of see in the big picture. And now there's another level to that. And that I think your group will be interested in, which is, how do we go deeper into the understanding? Level 1 is opening up spiritually, opening up with peace and love. That's what most people see the Aquarian age is about. There's another level. And that level is actually about returning to God. That's what's vital. Returning to God means reconnecting to our soul. And as we reconnect to our soul, then we connect more deeply to God. Now, in the age of Aquarius, there's a certain symbol that you may be familiar with, which facilitates that activation. Because where we're going and what we're going to do, because we're going to share a visualization, is we're going to become the divine blueprint. And that's, everybody is the divine blueprint. There's 12 points of the divine blueprint, which is the tree of life. Okay, the ancient tree of life. And that's part of the visualization to understand. And when we reach the divine blueprint, okay, that's when we start actually upgrading our DNA.
Gabriel, I'm just sharing, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to get this diagram in because this is a diagram that you posted on your website showing what you just explained about this 25,000 year cycle.
Yeah, and that we're now at the positive part, upward ascension part of the sign range. That's the cool part. We're crossing, going into ascension, which is key with the age of Aquarius and really entering the Messianic age in a very special way. So that being said, I'm going to kind of go a little bit more into some of the symbols, and there's a key symbol that existed even before the creation of the living earth. Okay, and that symbol can support us as we go in the new age. It's kind of activated. It wasn't something we were really working with before that. And this is a symbol that I think some of you are familiar with, which is the Venn diagram. Let me see if I can see it right there. And you notice there's a very important biblical principle. The principle is 1 becomes 2. We start with the oneness of God and we move into duality. So it's very simple. Sometimes people put the other way, but it's not the way principle is. The deep biblical principle is 1 becomes 2. From the Word of God, we have the many. So I'm sharing that because it is something that to me seems to be more activated as we enter the age of Aquarius. But think about that. The 1 becomes 2. Deep Torah principle. And that is how life is. We go from oneness into the duality. So that is something that supports us in becoming the true divine blueprint. And we already are. but we've lost it along the way. And along the way, our DNA has become downgraded. And the age of Aquarius is a time to upgrade our DNA to its full and healthiest frequency. So think that's more than just peace and love here, which is good. It's very profound. We are upgrading our DNA frequencies and our capacity for spiritual life. So that's the exciting thing that I want people to kind of really consider in the whole thing. And this Venn diagram, this correct way, one becoming two, is key. It's like the pineal gland is above the two eyes. The two eyes represent the male and female. Pineal gland is the one. And that's the key to understand how this principle is given to us pre-creation. Some people are saying, we're not talking about before the time of Noah or the time of Adam. We're talking about at the very beginning of creation. And so we're drawing on those energies as we go into this unique upliftment, a unique opportunity to upgrade our spirits, upgrade our DNA, and become truly superconductors of the divine. This is really what the age of Aquarius really is about. So that's kind of where I'm starting with here. And the idea is once it's activated, and I'm going to guide us through in the meditation, once that's activated, okay, our whole tree of life, the ancient real tree of life, the 12-point tree of life, not the 10-point tree of life, 12-point, which is really in the ancient scriptures, and the very ancient book called the Sefer Yetzirah, it's 12, because we are that total frequency. We are the living tree of life. And the Aquarian age is an opportunity for us to reactivate that tree of life within us. And I'm going to guide us through that as we go into meditation. So that's a kind of an overview of the level and depth of energies that the Aquarian age is offering us.
Thank you so much for that, Gabriel.
Take advantage of it. Yeah.
Yes, this is such an opportune time, as everyone knows, and thank you so much for that eloquent and in-depth explanation of what we're going to be getting into. Before we do that meditation and activation and visualization, I want to jump over to you, Laura. Welcome, first of all. I'm so glad you're here with us.
I'm glad to be here.
What is coming through for you most powerfully at this time?
Gosh, well, many things. But I think for me, it's really just, it's such an exciting time. I just see it as such an amazing opportunity and a really a point in time to kind of take stock and to look at the opportunities ahead of us, both as individuals and also as a collective, and to really start stepping into our power and to start ascending, as Gabriel said, on an individual and also on a collective level. Like I genuinely feel like I can really feel the energy at the moment. I feel really excited about what the future can hold for us, what we can create.
Sorry, I'll mute myself here. That's my pup.
Well, but that's good. It's he was feeling the power. So it's good.
Well, Laura, we would love to after the meditation, we'd love to dive more into your work, of course, and take 10 to 15 minutes and just really go into that feminine embodiment, that the resolving the tension, resolving the trauma that you are so gifted with speaking on and delivering. So Mike, what do you think? Should we feeling, let's dive back in with Gabriel's meditation now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So the ancient Essenes, people think they were very straight, okay? They danced, they sang, they celebrated. That was really part of who they were, okay? And so before we go into meditation, there's really a principle is to activate the spiritual joy. that will then empower us into the meditation. And then I'll give the guided meditation. But think spiritual joy, okay? Very, very important. And we'll do that in a second. I just want to prepare you that we're going to dance a little bit in the way the scenes did. It's celebration of life. They celebrated life, okay? And they were all over, really. They were not just in Qumran. They were in Damascus. They were in the Sea of Galilee. I mean, and really all the way actually into Egypt too, Lake Mareotis. So it was always about celebrating life. And that empowers you to work real hard at the same time. Okay, and spiritual joy is a pathway to God, and that's what they had mastered in a certain way. So that will be kind of a first step in the discussion of where we go with it. Now, before we get there, I really need to talk about the Essene way of meditating. And there's two pieces we need to understand. At the burning bush, Moshe received the name of God that was to be given to people. And it's the name of God as grace. Okay? And in that meditation is the same name of God that Jesus gave to his disciples, that Moses gave to the elders, and it was passed down over time. And so that is, I'm going to use somehow something. So that is this name. Okay. And what that is, and I'm going to explain how to do it because it's part of the meditation. It's yod on the in-breath, hey on the out-breath, wah on the in-breath, hey on the out-breath. Now, yod from the base up to the heart, hey out to the heart. Wah from the base was this one. Okay, up to the what we call dot or third eye, and then hey out to the heart again, merging the heart and mind. Now, this was, as I say, given to Moses, but also Jesus gave it to the disciples. It is the holy, it's the name of God that is meant as grace to be given to people. I mean, and that's what we're doing now. So it's very special to be able to share this name of God with you. Now, it came to me after I was at the 21st day of a water fast, and that's when it came. And this process of the breath with it is part of it. So it's yod, and we're inhaling. Hey, we're exhaling. Wah, we're inhaling. Hey, we're exhaling. So there's a flow here. We have breath. We have the symbols, and the power of the symbols, the power of the name of God. And that is what we'll be doing as we kind of activate our true tree of life. Because you need the power of the name of God to make it work. And please understand, again, this was used by Jesus. It's recorded, in the history of things. So I'm happy to share that with people because this is a great way to start the Aquarian age with the name of God that Jesus gave to his disciples. I mean, that's just a luxury, right? It's a gift. Okay, so that is part of it. Now there's another part of of how it works, in which will be as we go into meditation, and that part is the giving of an essence, part of your spiritual essence, and so because of the internet, we're doing it through the eyes. I'm doing it through the eyes. That can help awaken the spiritual energy known as Kundalini in the Eastern tradition, but also known as Ruach HaKodesh in the Western traditions. This is something that if you recall the story about Jesus and the disciples, flames of fire above their head. Anybody remember that? Okay, that's what we're talking about. And that has been passed down for generations. And the interesting thing is I found out I can, usually it's just by touch or by look, but we can do it over the internet. So that would be very special to share with people on this Aquarian Age event. I mean, it's the power of the divine. As I said, Ruach HaKodesh is in a sense, it is not in a sense, it is the Holy Spirit. It's another name for Holy Spirit. So we're going to have an opportunity to have that awakening. So now, in the Essene way, we dance a little bit before, we'll dance for a few minutes. And then I'm going to look and send the energy. And this is, again, very biblically traditional. The energy comes to my eyes and activates, it can, if your system's ready, activate the energy within you, the spiritual energy, the Holy Spirit. And it also burns what we call karma. And there's a piece of we call introspection, which is the transfer of spiritual energy. Very traditional, ancient way. We'll be doing all of that because this is such a special occurrence. This is really special. So that's the game plan. So we're going to start with maybe 2 minutes of dancing, and I hope everybody gets to dance. I know that people are used to thinking, a certain way. Think about the Essenes, okay? And really, I can't tell you how many times I've been to Qumran. I mean, lots, okay? And they danced and they sing. We could see what, you could feel the energy. So this is a scene, if you really want to appreciate it, the real Essene, not the imaginary Essene, okay? Because my work is, let's do the real Essene. And I've spent years researching it besides being everywhere they were. So do you have the music? Did Olga set you up with the music?
You got it, Mike? Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, 1 second. I had to free up resources. I had closed that browser accidentally, so it's pulling up right now. So give me 30 seconds and I'll have it.
It's okay. So I'm going to dance, but I'm asking everybody to dance. We just did it. We had all these people in their 70s and 80s dancing because it opens up the spirit. It's actually part of the tradition, honestly. When you dance, you open up your heart, you open up your spirit. And as they say, it's part of the Essene way. Okay, so don't be inhibited, although you're at home by yourself. Let's all get up and dance, and I will also dance. I'm just going to
give me about 15 seconds, and I'll get the sound.
Probably. And we'll go for about 2 minutes if you can time it, okay?
Okay, let me go to screen share. Okay, you guys ready? Let's shake a leg here. You ready, Gabriel? I'm going to start it.
I'm ready, but put me on. Now we're going to go into meditation. I'm going to, if you could get me so I can give a visual to really reach people there. Okay, that's good. So just focus on the energy coming through, and we'll go in for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to then give a guided meditation after about 10 minutes. So just go in, repeat the mantra, Yod on the breath, He on the breath, Wa on the breath, He on the breath. So just focus on the energy coming through.
Gabriel, can I just clarify that? So when you think, do you think or you say those letters in the name?
You're thinking the letters.
Thinking the letters, and then are you putting your point of attention? Yod is at your base, and then and then He is your heart, and then is Wa here or at your base?
It starts at the base.
Okay.
And comes up to the here.
And then hey is again out the heart.
Out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of the flow of the energy as it's designed. So we become that name of God. And really what we're doing is we're placing the name of God on our hearts and on our bodies, which is very profound, very important to do at this point in time. Okay, so now just focus as the energy coming through. It'll be about 30 seconds, and then we go into meditation. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you the first letter, Yod, and we'll just go into meditation now. Yod. And now close your eyes and just repeat with your breath. Yod and then breath. Hey and then breath. Wah and then breath. Hey and then breath. And as you're doing it, understand you're connecting with thousands of years of Essene history. So connect with your brother, and there were women in Qumran, incidentally. Connect with your brothers and sisters all the way back to Qumran. Okay? Feel that oneness, because this is what they did. the divine spiritual blueprint. So visualize, keep your eyes closed, but visualize a point of light above your head, maybe about 6 inches above your head. Okay? And now visualize another point of light right on the top of your head. And in these spaces, put the divine name, the UK above K, 6 inches above and on the top of your head. Now, the left side of your brain, UK above K, the right side of your brain. You're activating the energies of your divine blueprint. And now, in the throat area, and now the left shoulder, and now the right shoulder. Again, you're putting the name of God. You're activating the name of God in your physical body. And now your belly button, the heart region, center, heart region. And now the belly button area, just slightly below it. Now your left hip and your right hip. And the genital areas. And finally, from the genital areas down to your feet and to the very center of the earth. And now we've activated your divine blueprint. Okay? And now you're going to inhale up from the center of the earth, the deep earth energy all the way to your heart. As you inhale again, you're inhaling that purple flame coming down into the heart from the cosmic energy, filling your heart with a purple flame. And you can feel the energy of the divine growing in your heart. You're inhaling, pulling more in. And now you're going to exhale. And it's going into all your cells and the DNA of all your cells. Upgrading your DNA frequencies. Using the energy of the age of Aquarius to further upgrade them. So inhale again. This time we exhale and we're sending that divine purple light energy, purple flame, into your cells, into your organs, and now out from your body. And slowly, wherever you are on the planet, extending and covering the whole living planet with the divine light. Now, see that divine light, that purple flame, the violet flame, permeating the whole atmosphere of the earth, surrounded with the violet flame, activating the cosmic consciousness of the living planet and of ourselves. And now, see that purple flame coming down onto the Earth's surface, activating the animals and the plants and all the other humans, helping people open up their hearts to God. And now feel the fact that your divine, your true divine blueprint has been activated. Your DNA has been upgraded from that activated divine blueprint. And you have become the living Essene tree of life. And as we go out into the world, may you feel empowered to naturally share this divine violet flame in a way that uplifts everyone in your environment. It uplifts the living planet and all of creation. Take a moment, and when you're ready, we can slowly come out of meditation, fully activated in this Aquarian age. Okay. So just sit with it for a moment. And now when you're ready, we can share or talk or whatever.
Can we just like sit in this for another 10 minutes?
Sure you can.
That was awesome. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much, Gabriel. My immediate thought is, how do I have that integrate in and like transform my monkey mind, you know, that part of me that's worried about what people think, or is this going to work, or can we, you know, defeat the evil in the world or whatever, you know, like, because this feeling right here is the transformation. Thank you so much.
That's right. The Aquarian age is in our hearts, and the energy of the Aquarian age emanates from our hearts, not from the cosmos. And we radiate the cosmos. And you don't have to do anything, just be it. That's the beauty. There's nothing you have to do because it naturally happens. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to work at it. It's just who you are. It's your natural state.
How you guys feeling, Mike, Laura?
Ooh, no,
I'm very blissed out. Amazing.
Okay, good.
yeah, no, I definitely feel it in my teeth, and I feel it kind of charge, an electrical charge for sure.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, I think the prevailing feeling I have right now is peace.
Great. Great.
Yeah. Laura, this kind of bridges into your work, you know, like this transformation piece. You know, you talk about healing trauma, you talk about that tension, right? And that tension between the drive for authenticity, for truth, versus the desire for like the attachment, the acceptance, the attachment to the things of this world, to, you know, other people's you know, intention or whatever for our lives rather than our own truth, right? And this really comes into this whole agenda right now in our response to it, right? Are we going to be authentic, or are we going to be, you know, is that drive to sort of go along with the program or to submit to the mind control programming, you know, stronger? So can you, I would love to just to really go into, for you to go into that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, for me, change starts with us, and this is the theme, right? Change you know, there's many people that want to make a difference in the world. We want to change the world, but it really does start with ourselves. Many elements to that. You know, there's you know, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. But I think something for me which has come up very strongly this year and that I'm observing is really this need for us to reconnect to our true authentic selves. Because you mentioned, you know, the monkey mind and what other people think and everything, and so I think that, you know, really most people are not truly connected to their authentic self. They're not living from the heart. They're not fully living their truth. And I know this from my own personal experience, but also from working with clients, from observations that I make, conversations that I have. There are so many of us who are not fully giving our gifts to the world. We're not fully expressing our true self, and one of the reasons for that is that we are so conditioned from birth to potentially become people that we're not. So we have all these layers of conditioning, but we also have many layers of trauma and things that have happened throughout our life. And so you know, for me, it's really critical that we do things at the inner, what I call the inner work, to really connect back with who we truly are. And as Gabriel was saying about the heart, and now it's the age of living, you know, from the heart. I really truly do believe that, and I believe that that is the way forward. And being connected, you know, being really connected to ourselves, being connected to the earth, being connected to others, being connected to source. For me, it's all about connection and reconnection. And so we can do the work to get to that place, and it is a journey. But also, in order to live from that place, in order to really live our truth and fully express ourselves and be who we truly are, that is a really big challenge. That's a really big challenge for I think most people, and it's certainly been a challenge for me through my life. Really, just I spent most of my life trying to, you know, pretending to be somebody that I really wasn't, and it created a lot of emotional and mental struggles for me. And it's been a journey to kind of remember who I truly am, and sort of shed those layers and do the healing work that I've needed to do. And I think now is an amazing opportunity for all of us to really look at ourselves, to do the healing that we need to do, and to be able to put our best selves out into the world and create the change, not only in our own lives that we want to see, but also in the world at large. And as you said, Josh, you know, one of the challenges is something that I refer to as attachment versus authenticity. It's actually something I first learned about from Gabriel Cousens, who is a world-leading trauma, stress and addiction specialist. And so he talks about how two of our most fundamental human needs are, firstly, for us to be authentic, so to be who we truly are. And when we are not doing that, it can create a lot of stress, which he calls hidden stress. And that can have a lot of consequences, both in terms of our health, but also how we show up in the world. And there's another need which he refers to as attachment, and that is really the need for approval, for acceptance, and you know, the tribe, the herd, our peers, and not feeling rejection, because most of, you know, a lot of the behaviors that I've seen in myself, but also in clients and in others, is we are so fearful of what people think of us. We are so fearful of being judged, and potentially being ultimately abandoned, left out. You know, none of us enjoy that feeling, and so I think that is really one of the big challenges that we have in terms of, on a practical level, really stepping into who we are and living from that place and living our truth. And I've certainly seen it a lot this year, even within myself. You know, I started being very vocal earlier this year about what was going on in the world, and it was very challenging, you know, to have so many people you know, not happy and criticizing what I was expressing, which was really, really true for me. So that was another step on my journey. But I also know so many people, like I've lost track of the number of people I know who they are not fully being who they truly are. They have gifts to give to the world, really beautiful gifts, and they're not doing it because they're so worried about the judgment or they don't have the support around them, because what comes with community is also the support. So I really do think that is a major challenge that is facing a lot of people at the moment.
Thank you. I was just about to post in the live stream on here on YouTube. If people could please come to the page takebackyourpower.net/live, and there you can post your questions for us, and that's an easier way for us to get your questions to the panelists. And there you can also sign up for our upcoming reunion summit that Mike will share more about momentarily. So takebackyourpower.net/live. Go scroll to the bottom. You can comment, you can ask a question, and just engage with the community there, and sign up for free for the summit. So Laura, just diving back into what you just said, are you getting, it feels at times like we're all going through this separately. At times it feels like is something wrong with me? Why can't I get energy? Why can't I get motivated to, you know, to do that thing that I really want to do for the world, or to be the transformation, right? Whether it's for myself or for the world, or for my family, or whatever. What kind of communication are you getting from others on the way, you know, on the path, who are on an awakening path?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think that there are the feedback that I get, the comments I get, the messages that I get from people. It's very much many people saying that they feel alone. They feel like there's something wrong with them. They don't know what's going on. And I think part of that is that often, particularly on social media, we don't see that much authenticity. I personally don't feel we do. I feel like it's a bit of a facade a lot of the time. So I think what can happen is we look outside and we kind of think that we're on our own, because a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about the reality of how they're feeling, or the reality of what's going on. So I think there is an element of that, but also, you know, community. When you have community of people who have a kind of shared purpose and shared values, and they're living from the heart, and they're being, you know, they're living from that kind of, through that lens of love and from the heart, that's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly powerful. And in fact, in all my work and my life, I think, you know, I've done a lot of work. I used to work in the corporate world doing change management, and then I was coaching, health coaching, and now the work I'm doing now. And yeah, I really feel that the biggest barrier I found for people to be well in mind, body, and spirit is very much linked to community, to the people who are around them, to the support that they're getting, to, you know, the challenge, to the relating, to feeling like there's people that actually get you, and being able to heal and grow and like co-evolve together towards a shared purpose. And I feel like that's something that really needs to be a focus going forward, because we human beings need community. Like and this is why actually for me, changing my community, like years ago when I was going through, I wanted to go through, you know, personal changes. I had to change my peer group. I had to change my community because the people that I was with were just were holding me back. So I think it's important we don't deny the fact that we need community and we need other people in our lives, because we are social creatures. But now really focusing on building true community with people who are on a similar path, I think is absolutely critical to our mental and physical well-being, and also how much we're able to put out into the world and how inspired and productive we can be.
Yeah, Mike, I just want to jump to you, brother. Where are you at in this piece right now, either with insight or if you want to go deeper with what Laura's bringing forward?
Well, Laura's spot on with the community aspect, which is what we always, I mean, that's what Alpha Vedic's all about, is community and coming together. You know, I think it's like the 3 rules of survival. It's 3 days of water, 3 weeks of food. And I think it's like 3 months. If you don't talk or communicate or have interpersonal connection with somebody, then bye-bye, you leave this plane. I mean, that's how important it is to have that energetic connection with our fellow brothers and sisters. And of course, right now, that's very difficult with everything that's going on in the world. And while we have these amazing online communities like on Telegram and Discord, we must come together. We must be in person with each other, hugs, kisses, eye-to-eye contact. The digital realm is cool, and this is amazing because it allows us to, you know, interact and reach across the world. But one thing that I'm, you know, doing with friends here in our area is we're putting together in-person events. We did one in Joshua Tree that Josh came to in October called Music and Sky. It was a 4-day 24-hour camping event where we did a lot of breath work, a lot of meditation, a lot of hugging, a lot of crying and laughing. And it was really powerful. And we need our tribe, definitely. And I think, you know, moving forward, we're going to find innovative, new, powerful ways to do that that will really be uplifting and amazing. So not only do we have these amazing online communities like on Telegram and Discord, but we will, like, our intention is to create this global connection. And I know Gabriel, you know, he's out there, he moved to Israel to be more connected to the Holy Land and be there. And I'm sure Gabriel, you're famous for doing those interpersonal retreats and all that. And I know that's probably super close to your heart. So, you know, we have to maintain that intention of coming together in person. When we did that dance earlier, I was just thinking, oh, how cool would it be if we're all together in the room grooving out and stuff. I mean, I've been a DJ for 20 years. Like, I get off on a dance floor and having people having that interaction. I can't do the Zoom DJ thing. It just isn't working for me. So something that's really important is we as we move into this new age, I know that's going to be something that we're going to see again. We're going to see massive collection of people coming together and celebrating. And I just want everyone out there to know that and keep that in our hearts and our intention, because that is our future and it's going to be better than ever. But as Laura said too, with the coming together with community and stuff, of course, we must first be in touch totally with ourselves and understand like who we truly are. And like what we talk about a lot is like living in the way, like what Jesus said was, you know, finding your way first and foremost is the most important thing before we can even come together. So I really feel like that's something we're always talking about, is like simple techniques to get yourself back on track, whether it be breath work, meditation, cold water, submersion, fasting. There's a lot of things that we can do with this amazing body we have to tap back into our soul consciousness, into our Christ consciousness, which is really erupting right now. So there's a lot of things we can do to support each other. And that's what we really tried to do with Alpha Vedic and with all of our friends and family up here, is remember that we are in this divine, you know, meat suit that we have, and we have to, you know, honor it. And so it's a double pendulum. Yes, the soul spirit is really important, but we have to honor this amazing vessel we're in too. So that's why we really talk about health and wellness and diet and all of that. It's so important. So yeah, the summit that, Josh, I guess I could segue a little bit in the summit, because the summit that we're doing, which is based off that event we did in Joshua Tree, is taking that all in. It's incorporating in a way that is really unfolding a lot of new information that is really empowering. And it's not in that kind of more grounded materialistic idea, because we really are pushing the levels of science and spirit together in a way that it's really freeing, because like with New German medicine is something, for instance, that Dr. Melissa Sell talks about in the summit, and how it's really about our emotional body that affects our physical wellness. And it's not necessarily totally about what you're eating. However, we do have to honor still what we put in our body. So I guess it just comes down to truth, personal truth, being honest with yourself, and really coming to understand what it is to live in the way of peace, the way of harmony, the way of love, the way of honesty. And then abundance is everywhere. And you can witness it with manifesting in your life every day like that. And I think Gabriel would back me up on this. I would say now it's even easier to manifest, right? With where we're going now with this new age, manifestations are going to be happening a lot faster. We're moving into the 5D. We're going to be in a way where, with this community outreach and connection, literally you put your thought form here, I put my thought form here, boom, manifestation, it's there. So it's just such exciting times right now, guys. And we were going to try to push the summit and launch it right around now. And I'm so glad we didn't rush it, because I feel like, Josh, it's going to be way better to come out in like February-ish, when we're more moved into this new age, when we're more kind of connected in this transcendental way, and everything's happening for a reason. So Reunion Summit is going to be next level. And we're going to be incorporating all of these ideas into a 7-day free summit that everybody can join in on. And it's live talks that were on location. There's workshops that we did on location. And then also we have Zoom panels that are really taking this information to the next level, in-person interviews, all sorts of things. It's a really unique, this will be a really unique event. And we're just really excited to kind of launch the announcement today. It's like the perfect timing. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm so excited about that, Mike. I mean, we got like Dr. Melissa Sell, Dr. Edith Ubuntu Chan, Troy Casey. He's a friend of ours. He's bringing the next level as well. We got him doing naked qigong, though we're gonna have to blur some of that out, right? For the he wasn't naked the whole time, by the way. But so we're just freeing ourselves from this attachment and the restriction of our own. It's almost like our own mind. If we can get our own mind to disagree with the mind control, you could say, that's coming from out there. It's coming from mainstream. It's coming from our governments and media and so forth. If we can free our own mind first, I'm really realizing that is the way forward. I just recently started doing breath work myself. I've been doing it pretty much every day for the last few days. Was struggling with things kind of before then, but that's one of the tools that I find really is inspiring me. There's Wim Hof is in addition to Troy Casey and others. Wim Hof there's a free video on YouTube. You can just type in Wim Hof beginners breath work, and that's transformational. Laura, thank you so much for sending that to me. I was getting shivers, Mike, when you were talking about community, and just to get back to this idea of like, it's actually becoming real now, real community, helping to resolve this core foundational tension that Laura, you spoke about, right? Between authenticity and the attachment, like, to want to belong, right? By coming into real community, and a community that actually encourages us and it provides our new normal, a template and suggestions and tools and resources for us to do our own inner work, right? For us to do that own inner process, like you say, Mike, of the way, of our own soul's way, and to come into that community, that's really a foundational way that we can relieve that tension, right, of our need to belong versus our drive for authenticity. I mean, this is, maybe it's obvious to everyone else, but it's just like
conformity, and just be yourself. And when you're in a truly holistic and loving community, you will be embraced for that. The weirdness in you, you know, your divine spark that makes you unique in the universe. That's what makes humans amazing, is our ability to use our imagination to create new stuff. And that's been stunted by the education system, you know, all that stuff. You know, we're all red pilled here. We all understand that. You know, we've moved beyond that. So that's why I love the festival scenes, because it's like, be weird. You know, I always tell my kids it's cool to be weird. So yeah, Gabriel, any thoughts on this?
Well, lots of thoughts, right? This is a issue people have faced for thousands of years. And for me, it starts with the direct experience of who you are. And it's a way of life. It's not like you do an exercise. I teach the 6 foundations. So you eat to become a superconductor of the divine, okay? And you fast. You're sensitized. Then we do for myself, the tri yoga and the pranayama, breathing exercises, and obviously sacred dance, and then service and charity. Like we have over 100 programs of diabetes prevention and organic, veganic farming all over Mexico, Africa, lots of places. And then we work with a spiritual collective to support ourselves, or spiritual teachers. Then we meditate till there's nothing left, okay? And then the idea of activating the spiritual energy. So what I'm saying, it's a way of life that then does one thing: it quiets your mind so we can experience the truth of who we are. And that way of life, okay, not a practice, not an exercise, but that way of life, the natural way of living that helps you wake up, is the key to steadily being in that awakened, authentic state. You know, I have a statement: we're all born originals, most people die copies. The whole idea is to become original again. But probably the most important part of being an original is getting in touch with your soul. And that's where it all begins. And that soul is what connects you to God. So that's key. Once you're in touch with that, you're not so worried about what people outside are saying, because you're connected. You're not depending on other opinions. Even in relationships, when you're really connected to your soul, then you are love. You are that non-causal love. You are that non-causal joy. You are that non-causal oneness. You are that non-causal harmony. Non-causal, because it comes from within yourself. Then you play in the outer world, but you're coming from a place that you're not needing to be validated. You're not needing to be loved, because you are love. And in relationship, then the person, you don't get codependent. You are in a place where you're love, they're love, and you're sharing love that amplifies the love. So but it starts from within, going without. We are collective beings, but we're also meant to be unique individuals. And it's the play, and this is more of a Torah teaching, it's the play of the collective individual who uplifts the collective, but also the collective creates a space for the individual to be their unique expression of the divine. But how do you do that? You have to live in a way that keeps you constantly in touch with the truth of who you are. So that's how I see it, you know, in the bigger picture. It's a way of life that is constantly keeping you in touch with the truth of who you are, constantly in touch with your soul, constantly in touch with God within yourself and within.
Wow, Gabriel, I'm so excited and stoked to team with you on this, and that you're going to be part and one of the guiding members of the reunion community. It's so foundational what you say. I mean, we're all born original. Most people become copies. The whole point of the way, or the soul's path, is to become original again. That's really profound. I mean, I absolutely love that. And you have you have your own community, both online and in person in Israel. You just moved to Israel
Yes.
3 weeks
Yes.
ago. You told us yesterday.
Yeah.
Tell us where people can go. What's the website that is the best place people can go to connect with you?
The easiest website is treeoflife.mn.co. treeoflife.mn.co or drcousens.com. But all our programs are listed. We're reorganizing and doing different things and different levels of teachings, but all our programs are listed in that, and people can be part of a kind of Tree of Life community that way.
Okay, I just want to open it up.
And also part of that discussion, Into the Nothing, my book, it really speaks about everything we've been talking about. It's kind of my spiritual autobiography. So it's just something a lot of people get inspired because there's a real person living this way for a long time. So
I want to open it up now just to kind of just our general conversation here amongst us all. And maybe we can start with a question that we received. How will this new timeline shift affect children and teenagers who are dealing with deep depression right now? What about our kids? What about our teenagers and the next generation?
it's a really important thing. And I'm going to just mention that unfortunately the rate of suicide for teenage girls, more 17, 18, 19, has tripled in the last 10 to 15 years. How come? Because they're not getting that kind of social support that is a positive, and then people follow each other. For boys, it's more getting in jail and different things. But what I'm trying to say is that it's a major crisis for the teenagers today because the world is so meaningless. What are you going to do? And I've run different teen groups at different times, and the key is to give them meaning. What's really meaningful to them? Right now, not much. And so if everything's meaningless, well, what's the point of living? I worked with Black teens in the South Side of Chicago for a few years, and we did a lot of recreating meaning for them. It's a game, it was a real game. And one of the things that amazed me in talking to them was that they saw no future. Period. So they were shooting each other and people were getting killed and different gangs were fighting, but it was coming out of meaninglessness, no future. What I did in some of my work was to get them reconnected to some level of meaning. Without that, what we're seeing is a plague among our teenagers of no meaning, and that is deadly. So the question is, how do we create a teen culture that has, really culture period that gives little kids, teenagers, and I'm going to tell you adults, because the rate of suicide for adults is skyrocketing too, gives them some meaning. Drug use and suicide are terrible, terrible things that are happening. So to me, that's the question. How do we create meaning in our society that filters down to the teenagers? Because without that, it's like, what's the point? That's how the kids think about it.
Mike, you have a couple kids, right? You're engaged in your community. What's your insight on this?
Well, I moved my family from the city to the country. Get them off the screens, get them into nature. It's up to the parents really to take charge here right now that are awake, to understand this and get them involved in nature. Kids are meant to be playing with bugs and little critters. It gives them empathy. It gets them connected with their inner selves. If they're on the screens, they will exactly fall into the trap that Gabriel was just talking about. They will lose touch. And we see it if we just let them have a couple hours a day or something on YouTube and stuff, they change. So it's really important to put your foot down if you have kids and make those make those rules. And so we give our kids a half an hour screen time a day after they do their chores. And we're homeschooling after school's done. And they're such better little characters. So there's a little pragmatic thing that we practice. It is, as someone who's in technology, I see how it affects our biology. And my hope for the future is that with this new age, we turn into a more of an analog driven technology where we get back to how we were in the times of Lemuria Atlantis, where we're more psychic, we're more connected in that way. It's more crystal focused type of technology. It's more, the virtual stuff's more kind of in a different kind of realm. I know this sounds really woo to a lot of people, but I really feel like for me, that's the technology that I want to see, because I do believe that technology is important. But as of right now, that's the one thing. Other thing too is, finding community of parents who are resonating with you and having those kids need to play with other kids. Like the Zoom thing going on right now is destructive. In the United States right now, with all the remote schooling and everything, you guys, we have to figure out ways to find community where kids can play together and interact. And not only just for their biome, their gut biome and their immune system and everything in regards to that, in terms of actually being healthy, but in their spirit too. And so that being said, it's the onus, it's on us. It's on us to be responsible for these little guys. Now, Dr. Edith Ubuntu Chan will be featured in Reunion Summit, and she has an amazing flip to this that she'll talk about, on how the new children that are coming into being now are actually going to help us and save us in a way. So these Illumin children are coming here now, and they are incarnating to help us grow and be able to properly function in this new age. So, and her child is, one of those who came to her in her dreams. Her story's fantastic. They weren't planning to have kids and came to her and said, "I'm going to be your son." And in any ways, so there's a lot of magic happening in the world. And that's the biggest thing that I try to integrate into my kids' lives every day, is the sense of magic and wonder and imagination, and have them create. So whether that be arts and crafts, going outside, building forts, even Minecraft, if they're gonna be on the screen, I like my kids to be like on something like Minecraft and building worlds and things like that. That's cool. So yeah, that's kind of where I see the importance of proper parenting and community, and finding parents that resonate with that. And also something too, sports. Like I played sports from a very, very young age. At Alpha Vedic, we love athletics. It's important, I think, as long as it's done in the correct way, like learning how to work as a team, getting in touch, like I said, with your body, and and learning how to use it. And there's a lot to be learned from by getting involved with those kind of activities. Or if your kid's more into, like, one of my kids is into piano, he's doing piano lessons right now, find out, push them in certain directions and things that they're interested in. Get them off the video games. That just, to me, is so destructive. 30 minutes, an hour here, there. Yeah. That's fun. I like video games too, but I really feel like the general trend right now, the control system, is this simulacrum of a virtual world. And these kids are being raised to be in that virtual world. And that's not nature. That's not what we're here for, what we're here to do. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge right now, but I feel like we're moving into this new era where it's going to change a lot. And I feel like we're going to have a better connection and a better responsibility towards the digital realm and the natural realm. And we're going to be talking a lot about that on the summit.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mike. There's a question here. Will this replay be available after? Yes, it will be. Just go to takebackyourpower.net/live, and it should be there like immediately following. So it'll be available permanently there. And I just wanted to just touch on, again, another aspect of this community, Mike, something that, or Gabriel and Laura, everyone, I mean, something that's been so helpful to me as a single dad. My daughter's almost 7. we, in this lockdown period, we started to gravitate to and started to attend a church that was no mask, and they're all about constitutional rights. They're all about the love of Christ. They're probably a little bit more in the box than me, like, let's say, like my deepest tribe, So, but it's been so wonderful to get together on Sundays with a room full of people with no masks who are willing to walk the walk and go to the supermarket without doing this, and just to be, and to call in and to invoke and to connect in the best way that we all know how with our source. So I wanted to say that. I mean, get connected with a local community, whether it's a church or whether it's find a constitutional group that is connecting. There's so much organic self-organizing that's happening right now. Many of these groups are starting to build relationships with sheriffs, and the sheriffs are coming on board, and that's going to be very key. Laura, you and I were talking about that, sharing this video that Hannah Maria, our colleague, brilliant, in Spain, was talking about and posting about. She's marching on the streets of Spain with tens of thousands of other people, with the police. Right, with the police for freedom, the police for libertad, or however the Spanish is, but and that is absolutely one of the foundational aspects, I think, of how this whole thing, could really shift. Because if you get the people that have, the powers of the policy enforcement, the people that have firearms and are doing so peacefully and are doing so at a higher level, I mean, then it's just a natural evolution of the people taking back their power. That's how I see it happening on the local ground. Even in the state of California, you have almost all the sheriffs are not enforcing anything that Governor Newsom does, and it's like that through many, or probably most states in the country, and probably worldwide. So community and connecting with local law enforcement and starting to bridge, really like embedding that intention and prayer and that community and consciousness in with our like-minded people locally and police enforcement. A question here, maybe Laura, I'll ask you this question that we received. For many, it is not fear of being accepted, it is fear of persecution. Can you address this, or anyone on, Gabriel or Mike, the fear of not being accepted, but like, if I don't wear a mask, what if there's, Nazi enforcement, whether it's from, other people, or whether security officers or fines or any of this stuff. What about that? The fear of persecution. I know obviously that's a thing. It was a thing in the early church, right? The early church 2,000 years ago, and that even the book of Revelation talked about persecution at the shift of the ages. So, I don't know why I wanted to ask you that, Laura, but do you have any thoughts on that? And I just would like to open this up. How do we move through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a fear that to varying degrees that most people have, but it all goes back to the same thing. We are, when we really connect with what is truly, truly important to us, what we value, when we realize that we're sovereign beings, when we're connected to our heart, when we're in a state of love, we can act from that place, and then that will look however it looks. So for some people, we make our choices, right? I'll give you an example. I live in Mexico. If I were to try and go into a supermarket without a mask, I will be taken away by the police and thrown in a jail cell. That's just how it is here. That there is no negotiating, there is no discussion. That's just how it is. But then, so that's a choice that I make. But then when it comes to, I get challenged a lot by people who are like, I'm not wearing a mask, for example, like, because that's the only time I wear one. So everywhere else I just don't. And I hug people, and we have great community here. And there will be people who will, I mean, I've had situations recently where people have like verbally, viciously attacked me. And so I understand what it's like. And I understand that most of us are feeling this, most of us who are not going along with the kind of the masses, and we're trying to, we're trying to do what we know in our hearts to be right. We are experiencing kind of persecution, criticism, attacks, either online or in person. But I think for me, I'm able to to deal with that, because I'm so rooted in what's important to me and what I believe, and that it's, you know, I'm living from my heart and I'm just living authentically. And for me, there is nothing more important than that. And so again, yeah, it does. I think our our degree of resilience to that, and our level of concern about that is very much to do with our inner world. But there are, as I said, there are varying degrees of it. You know, if we're going to be, you know, jailed for a month, we may decide to do something different. So it's like, do what you can within the realms of, you know, where you're at.
So I think,
yeah, please.
I think the key in a certain way is not be worried about these things. Look at what Laura is saying. If you know you're going to get jailed for a month and you say, well, I don't want to do that, you know, then you don't put yourself in that position. And at the same time, if you choose, like I probably everyone in this group, not to wear a mask as a teaching tool, as a point for discussion. I'm going to have a whole article about why masks don't work. There's over 14 studies by the CDC shows masks don't work. There's a big Danish study that says that they don't work. So it opens up, if people are ready, for a real discussion as an educational tool. So that's one level. Thing is, masks really aren't so good for you either. So that's another level. And then the final level, most important, is it's a sign of slavery and submission. And that's kind of implied in the little bit discussion, and really what Laura's saying too. So by not wearing a mask, we inspire people not to submit. And so everything has its implication. And if you're going to get, you know, thrown in jail or beaten up like happens to people in Australia, you have to think whether you want to do that or not. You know, you have to make that choice of what it's worth or not. But definitely don't worry about it. Just be at peace with it. This is the key. And then you make your choices. You know, I'm teaching, and if I get busted for it, I get busted, you know. But the key is be at peace. Don't worry about it, because that doesn't get you anywhere, and it actually enslaves you.
Yeah, I'm just coming back to that. Yeah, please. Yep.
So I don't wear masks. I mean, I will my main thing is I'll wear it if I'm in a place like in my little community. This just like hit our little Facebook group because people don't wear masks. They weren't enforcing masks in our little community here at the post office or at the local store the whole time. No mask enforced at our local store. And guess what? No virus outbreak. It's like the perfect experiment, right? So anyways, but then some loud people, got on Facebook and said, I'm fed up with people aren't wearing masks, you know, and so of course the store owner and the post office, I knew they were going to bow down to it if the loud minority got their way. So I put myself out there on the Facebook group and I explained my truth on why I don't feel masks work. And I mostly what you said, Gabriel, and took it even to farther with germ theory and all that stuff. And of course got, called a crazy conspiracy theorist and a new age health nut and all this stuff. But I felt, and it was anxious. It was a lot of anxiety doing that. I was like, oh, I'm putting myself out there. Everyone in my little community is going to think I'm like the weirdo now and all this stuff. But in the end, it was so empowering to speak my truth on a platform like that. And it really relieved me a lot. Like, I think one trap we're falling into a lot is, like we were talking earlier, like Laura was mentioning, is like acceptance over authenticity. And I know a lot of my friends in LA, they don't actually tell their friends their real beliefs about what they really believe in a lot of this stuff. And I think now's the time, like we got to live in our truth. We have to live in our truth, and it's just information. I'm not going to try to make somebody change, but I'm going to give them information. I'm going to give them my information. And if they can process it how they want, I'm not going to force it on them, but I'm going to give them my information. And I told people in the group, if we have people who are living in such fear of someone without a mask, and I'm in the post office, I'll put a mask on because I don't want to give them that much fear. I don't want to hurt someone. So I will suck it up and put a mask on just for that, but I will not stop talking. I will talk through that mask and I will explain to them that this is nonsense. This dirty face diaper is nonsense. But I'm doing it because you have the fear. And I don't want to increase any more fear, because I personally believe fear is what's causing most the problems in our world in terms of health and disease. So that was kind of where I'm at on that. But we must live in our truth now more than ever. We can't live in this fake kind of like, oh yeah, at parties, like just kind of going with it, just to kind of go with the flow, because what will happen? It'll happen like what happened in the Soviet Union when they came for all the people in the apartments, and everybody, no one fought back, and they were put in the gulags and they were murdered because people wouldn't just thought, oh, it'll go away. That's the prevailing argument with a lot of people on these Facebook groups. It's like, oh, it's just a mask. What's the big deal? It's just a mask. Everyone just puts a mask on. It'll go away in a couple weeks, or like a year in. It's not going away if you put the mask on. So live in our truth, speak our information, do your own research. And if it makes sense, one other thing I was going to say too is, and Dr. Edith Ubuntu Chan, once again, she's so brilliant with this. Before you go out in public or put a post on social media, do a little breath work, do a little meditation, talk to your higher self, and put a circle of protection around you. This works. For me, when I have intention and I'm going into town and I'm not going to wear a mask, I never get messed with. Now, I live in a place that's a little bit more libertarian, a little bit more conservative, believe it or not, in Northern California. So people don't really bug you. But for the most part, I'm kind of like the gray man. I come in and out. People don't really see me. I don't, I smile if someone's, giving me eye contact, and I almost never, ever get messed with, because I do that. I put the intention before I leave. I set the intention that I am in calm and love, and I have this, I have my higher selves protecting me, my angels, whatever your belief system is, and it works. And that actually works too if you have to go have an argument, have the discussion that you think might get heated with a loved one. Do that intentional thinking first, even meet their higher self and have a discussion with them first. And I'm finding these little techniques and tactics and strategies actually work. So, we can do a whole Zoom on that for a panel on those kind of strategies for the summit. And maybe we'll do an alpha cast on that too, our podcast, because these are the kind of things that I think are really going to be working now that we've kind of entered this new stage of our reality. Gabriel, do you do any kind of practice like that?
Well,
or you just go with the flow?
More focused on the inner self. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It doesn't matter what's happening to the other. Now, where I came from in Arizona, I worked with the people in the post office and got them to completely agree one doesn't need a mask. And I worked with the lady in the bank, the vice president, and, they all agree. So you can talk to a lot of people, and if you have a little science, they know I kind of know what I'm talking about. And so they really listen. So part of me is, this is about waking up. This is a gift that we've been given. This repression, this nonsense is so blatantly nonsense. Yes, I know there are people who believe it, but there are a whole group of people in the middle road here who are waking up as a result of kind of the absurdity of things. And that's very, very good, because to me, the biggest thing is people should wake up and understand, not just politically, but spiritually. But sometimes not wearing a mask is a big spiritual breakthrough. So I kind of see all of it as an opportunity to support people in waking up. That's how I kind of look at it. I don't take it personally one way or the other. It's like, okay, this is an opportunity. This is really good. I can speak to a vice president of the bank and get her to totally agree, seriously totally agree, and for her children and for this, and that's good. Okay. That's how I look at it. And it's in a way that people feel really supported. So when I talk to like Jackie at the post office, I'm giving her paper on why you don't want to wear a mask and my stuff. She gets it. because people feel you care about them. And I do. It's important for me to support them and look at what they have to face in their life and help them make the breakthroughs. So it's all about an opportunity for breakthrough, and what they're doing with the fascist repression is indeed forcing a lot of people to wake up. That's a good thing.
Yeah. For me, it's becoming so clear that the response to what's happening out there, you know, in my levels of anxiety, which vary, usually it's not a lot. And I've only worn a mask once for about 2 minutes this whole time. So I'm, you know, dealing with people on a semi-regular basis, though, and also shopping online more, which, you know, for me, it's becoming so evident that the more that I do the daily work, the more that I bring that presence, you know, the kingdom, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, connect with my soul, the more that I do the daily work. And that to me means not only like meditating and praying, but almost more foundational for me right now, breath work, nature time, and you know, right food and enough sleep. If I can do those things combined with living intentionally, like you say, Mike, where things just shift around you, then my response seems to, number one, be more energized. I feel like I have more energy so that I can actually engage the way that I feel led to, that I most want to. I have the energy to engage the way that I most want to, right? And then I'm guided to do just that, right? Doing that inner work and really like living that process from the inside out, rather than Facebooking and trying to put out 12 items a day on my Telegram channel and, you know, feeling anxiety about like engaging my email list. I need to be fixing everything out there. You guys all know what I mean, right? It's this transformation that I'm really getting clear now. And it's like my soul and higher self and creator and angels, whatever you say, Mike, however that all is really making it clear. The days that I don't start with those simple things, even like 7 minutes of meditation or 10 minutes of like guided meditation with my heart math, you know, app and airplane mode on my phone, and 7 minutes of like working out, right? To me, that's where I'm at. It's like, just do a couple simple things. And it's like, and the breath work that just transforms the day. The days that I don't connect are the days that I don't feel I have the energy to engage. So I just wanted to just to share that everything does really seem to change based upon, is this coming first right now? And it seems selfish. It seems selfish to take care of the kingdom within, right? But it's not. And I'm getting new insight in that. So thank you, all of you, for your thoughts there. Gabriel, one of the things I most appreciate about you, there's so much that I look forward to learn about your work, but you're not shying away from educating people, like you say, right? It's not all about, you know, the inner thing and then doing the spiritual bypass thing, which I really don't like. But you combine the spiritual inner work with educating people on. You've got 2 papers that we are actually available on our website on takebackyourpower.net/live. 2 papers. The first one is on Senko Hay and the Sharona, right? The science there, and the second is on the forced or the medical injections. So we encourage everyone to go on the site. You'll see in the sidebar there's both of those papers are available. Brilliant connecting and research. You're embedding your you know, consciousness and spirit into that, bringing forth the awareness and red pilling people work. So can you share just a little bit about either that process of like how you embed, you know, how you do activism from that self-care centered place, from that inner kingdom place, or if you want to talk about the and summarize those papers as well? Because one of the things that I kind of struggle with is I want to maintain, you know, they call it a high vibration or whatever. I want to maintain that presence while still spreading awareness, information, being the change, all that. So tell us about that.
Well, I start with the idea that it's spiritual service. And from that spiritual service, whatever that is, in my case, I can do the research that a lot of people don't do, and I have a certain amount of detail with it. just like connecting to 5G and the coronavirus, and pointing out where there's more 5G, there's more coronavirus infections because the 5G creates electrophoresis, which means your cells and your nuclei of your cell open up and the viruses can get in easier. And we can track more 5G, more coronavirus infections all over the world. So there's a certain kind of, to me, of service in helping people be aware of that. That's how I look at it, as service. Not that I'm trying to change people, but empowering people. If you don't have that information, how do you get empowered? The vaccination issue is the same thing. It's like, well, a lot of people, would get into fear and think the vaccination is going to help. But even the vaccine companies are saying, we have no proof that they work, they don't prevent anything, and they don't treat anything. So the question is, why are you taking it? Right. So they know that, you have a Bill Gates saying, this is where we're going to depopulate the world. And to me, getting that information out so people can make authentic choices is spiritual service, because I believe it's saving lives. So that's how I see it. It's not about being right or wrong or, being political. It's like, how can I best give information that's going to save lives? So that's kind of my orientation. It's from that spiritual orientation to do that. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's my
good.
motivation. It's not to be smart or to be
Yeah.
critical of the system. That is not the issue. The issue is, how do we most empower people to save their own lives?
And because you're doing that self-care and you're building your connection, within, then you're not projecting onto the world, right? That you got to fix it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a flip inversion. Question for any of you. Do you feel, why is it that we're amongst whatever percentage, 15%, 20, maybe more, it's not black or white, but why is it that there are some people who seem to be more immune to the mind control programs and in being a slave, while most people just, and even in the Ash experiment and all these other experiments are shown just to go along with the herd? Like, what is it? Do we have a different soul frequency? Have we been here before? Have we come here as volunteers to help out? Is it more on the wellness side? Are we protected spiritually? What do you guys think about this?
I think the more a person is connected to the soul, the more they're able to see through the untruth. And so to me, as we're talking, you see everyone here is connected in some way. It's not about being smart. A lot of smart people who are connected want to get vaccinated and want this and want that. They're in fear. When you're connected with your soul, you're not in fear, or you're in less fear, okay, which is really important. And you're motivated to do things to uplift yourself and uplift humanity. So that's what changes it. Being connected to your soul. And people aren't, no matter how smart they are, they're not grounded. They're not anchored in the cosmic truth of what is up. And when we don't have that anchor, then you really can't kind of understand intellectual truths or science truths, or like vaccines or things like that, because you don't even get the issues. So that's kind of the difference. So everybody here, what I sense is connected to a more cosmic truth, which then helps us have the insight to getting the secular mundane truth.
Yeah, and spot on. And what we try to do too with Alpha Vedic is we actually give people real science resources too to just kind of back that up, just because we always question it. So we actually talk about real biology, real physics, real chemistry, and show you know, well, actually, this is why vaccines don't work. This is, you know, and we bring on amazing people who have done the research, but you are spot on. In the end, the most important thing is knowing just the cosmic truth, going that the inner truth. One of the people that we love, one of the greatest luminaries of the 20th century, Walter Russell, you know, he reached out and tapped into that. And that's what he always talks about, is like, really in the end, it's your inner truth is all that matters, because that is the fulcrum of the reality of the waveforms that, you know, without getting too technical. So we have the truth inside of us in the end, and it's just knowing how to get it. And so it's just through practice, and it's really just inspiring. It's like we are the divine creators. It's amazing. Like inside of us is all the truth in the entire universe. So yeah, and today I feel like we really tapped into that in an amazing way with that meditation.
How are you guys for time? Does everyone want to go a little bit deeper, maybe 10 or 20 minutes more?
I got about, yeah, like 10, 15 minutes left of me, brother.
Yeah, I have about 10 minutes because here it's like already 11:30, 11:24 at night.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on with us again, Gabriel and Laura and Mike. Laura, I want to dive into your experience. You talk about on your Instagram page, which everyone can look up, Laura Jane Bolton, on your Instagram feed. You've been talking about your transformational process, what it was like to basically go through hell and back, and choosing life after having been, you know, really in a place of experiencing trauma. Can you share what would you be willing to share about that process with other people who maybe are in a dark night of the soul, or they're trying to, you know, find something that's real, that really gives them purpose? And obviously there's, you know, so much that we've talked about on here as tools and resources and to support that. But what was it like for you? What would you be willing to share about going through that, you know, almost like a spiritual death and rebirth process as you experienced it?
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot to say. So in the interest of time, I'll have to be very brief. But yeah, I went through, as many people are, and look, many people are going through this year. I have comments and messages all the time from people, you know, talking about this and how they feel like, you know, they're kind of despairing, they're at rock bottom. There's a lot of people are really feeling like they're suffering this year, and are going through that dark night of the soul. And you know, when it happened to me, I was at a point where I was very seriously considering ending my life, but there was just something within me that just wouldn't allow me. It wouldn't allow me to do it. It was like a higher voice saying, no, you need to stay, and you've got work to do. And so that may not happen for everybody, but for me, that's what happened. And that's why I decided to stay and to go on, you know, what was really my spiritual awakening. It was really my, you know, my journey of rediscovering myself, and of coming back to, you know, reconnecting with my heart, and spirit, and really just doing that inner work, doing the healing work, because it is work. Like, you know, when you're in that place, you do have to do the work to get out of it. But what I would say to anybody who's experiencing that is that they're not alone. And this is why I do the work I do, and I talk about the stuff I talk about, and I share my story, because every time we share our truth and we share our story, we inspire other people and give other people hope as well. Because I know there's a lot of people who are really, really struggling. You know, I've lost friends this year to suicide. I have friends who are, you know, really depressed. So I know it's a huge problem, and Gabriel spoke about that earlier, about, you know, the rise in depression and suicides, both in adults and children. And so I think, you know, for me, it just reminds me, like, now, because I've been through all of that, it allows me to act from a very heart-centered place and to have compassion for people. And I think it kind of reiterates the point about how important community is, not just online, but our local community, taking care of each other, because that's what we always traditionally did. And now we're just so isolated, and a lot of people feel like they're trying to cope on their own. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to reach out to people, to connect with people, and to form our local community and support each other in that way.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And there's so much there. Like there's so much, like you said, we could say, but that's a very good overview. Sometimes I've been getting downloads from my higher self or wise self or soul or creator, and I have been starting to journal more, which is amazing. And I just want to share something really quick around that. And then Gabriel, could we ask you to close this in prayer after that?
Sure.
Thank you. So this was actually this morning, or was it last night? It's kind of a blur, but this is what came through. So 3 statements. Let the wisdom of the infinite creator and our wise self be manifest and into and through our human conscious mind. And you can personalize that, my human conscious mind. Let the remembrance of who we really are, our identity and power, be made clear in my human conscious mind. And let me know what it means to truly forgive myself on all levels. And I think a lot of us, have these programs of not enough that we've been moving through. And that's one that's really shifting for me. And it's shifting as I'm doing the simple things to connect with them. And I'm encouraged by you all, by community, and that's our new normal, right? Taking care of ourselves, getting in our community, soul tribe. We can see each other, because our soul tribe likes to breathe freely, and maybe there's more opportunity to meet more people. Something that came through on a walk in nature recently was be more open to meeting people that you meet on the trail that are not wearing a mask. Actually say, hey, how you doing? And really be open. Maybe there's an exchange of phone numbers or whatever, that you can afford to be more open and connected with those people. That's what kind of one of the insights that came through for me. So, but really just so grateful for you, for each of you. And again, everyone watching there, go to takebackyourpower.net/live. And on the right-hand side, if you're on a computer on the sidebar, there's an option for you to sign up free for the Reunion Summit. It's coming up. You'll hear more about it in January, February, and we'll intend to also be in touch with you perhaps before then with other news and updates and ways that you can get connected with community. So thank you for being here, and please share this video. It's going to be available live ongoing. Once again, it's on that website on an ongoing basis. So if you want to share it with people, or if you missed part of it, if you want to rewatch it, it's going to be there. So Gabriel, please lead us in closing this.
Okay, I just want to leave a closing thought first. What Laura brought up about people feeling hopeless. And it's an opportunity. And I've been very successful in helping people who come with this exact issue. It's an opportunity for them to let go of being attached to the outer world as being their source of hope, and turning within to the light of the divine within and making that connection. So it's a very potentially empowering time to go in and understand the true source of power, and never to give up the power. So you don't have to be re-empowered, but don't give up the power, because we have the power of God within us. And when people access that, then their life suddenly has meaning again. And that's the real way of turning it around. Otherwise, okay, fine, I got a job now, I'm okay. But they're not okay because they've never learned the deeper lesson of reconnecting to the divine within themselves. And then once you have that, it doesn't matter as much of what happens in the outer world. There's an Essene teaching that says those who live according to what happens outside of them are basically deluded, and those who live within, and they use the angels within, are the ones that really know to be real people. And so this is what we're talking about, is how do we help people go within and using the outer pain to turn within. That's the key as a motivation. Like, you don't have to feel this way. You don't have to feel suffering because you're no longer dependent on what happens outside. You've got it all within. So that's just the kind of an overview there.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, and so my blessing to everyone is that we open up to the deep, holy truth of who we are, and we become so inspired by that we're able to transmit and share that truth on the inner plane with those around us so that they too may know the truth of God within themselves. May everyone be at peace. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Amen.
Wow, thank you for that. Well, lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for this. Just really quickly, Gabriel, once again, your best website in which people can connect with you?
They can just go to drcousens.com.
drcousens.com. Okay, so that's another quick one.
That's
and
an
Mike?
easy one. Yeah.
Oh, alphavedic.com. That's ALPHAVEDIC.com.
And your Telegram community, how can people get there?
Telegram is t.me/alphavedic. And then also we have, we're on Discord too. So alphavedic.com/Discord, if that's more your vibe.
Excellent. And Laura?
The best place to find all my stuff is Instagram. So it's laura.jane.bolton. And I have links in my bio to everything else in that.
And you're also on Telegram?
Yes.
At?
Telegram. I think it's just Laura Jane Bolton, I think. But the link to it is also in my Instagram. But I think it's Laura Jane Bolton.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone out there. Thank you so much for being with us. Be blessed. And
thank you for your good work. Amen.
Amen. We'll talk with you again soon. Peace, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Hey, thanks, everyone in the stream. Sorry if we didn't get to all your questions, but I think Josh and I might be doing more of these. So we'll see you next time. Later.
Right on.